Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Nilambuja Shyamal Komalangam Sita Samaropitavama Bhagam Panavu Maha Sayaka Charu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatam. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus, very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side and he is carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. Shri Ramcharitmanas in Baal Kanda. Presently, this is the topic of Rama being wedded to Sita Devi. It's the most important state in soul's journey to liberation. Coming to this state where the potentiality of the soul expresses in four brothers. Rama is jnana, wisdom. Lakshmana is dhyana, profound focus of mind, meditation, Raja Yoga. Bharata is bhakti, devotion. Shatrughna, karma yoga. And all the four yogas have blended, and they bring the soul to a profound level. That's to be wedded to Viveka Buddhi. Viveka Buddhi, so far this before this status, the soul was not fulfilled. The soul was wandering without wedding, without match. And matching with many illusions. The soul was trapped by karma, wandering through cycles of birth and death. Soul was wedded to moha. But now the situation has changed. It's a glorious state. Rama marries Sita. And who are ready to hear, now they lived happily ever after. Not so. Now starts the real life's battle. So far we are battling in illusion, jumping around, fighting the imaginary demons. But now you have exact understanding of the role of illusion and how to break them up. Just giving a little glimpse of the subtle meaning. Keeping that in view, Saint Tulsidas puts in Ramayana every little description is meant to help your mind to enter into deep upasana, devotional meditation on Rama. So now, therefore, you are invited to Rama's marriage party. Rama, not only just Rama, but Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna. Rama is going to marry Sita. Lakshmana is going to marry Urmila. Urmi refers to waves. Urmila refers to shimmering waves. When the mind develops that ability to move towards wisdom is like a cloud. When it begins to allow rays of the sun to pass through, even a slight little hole, and the rays begin to pass, then you see the shimmering glory. Urmila has joined in. Bharata marries Mandavi. People have heard of mandaps, canopies. If you have bhakti, you are not sitting in the world, in a world of insecurities. Look up, mandap is there. Mandavi is that protective hand that secures the soul's movement to liberation. And Shatrughna marries Shrutikirti. Shatrughna is a destroyer, karma yoga. Karma yoga is meant to remove impurities. Kama, krodha, lobha, moha, perverted desires, anger, greed, conceit, and so forth. And that Shatrughna is wedded to Shrutikirti. Shrutikirti is literally meaning one who is the embodiment of divine Kirti. Kirti is all the glory that manifests in this world. So, if your ears are deeply become interested in listening to the glory of God, that type of feeling within you becomes Shatrughna's wife, Shrutikirti. The more you allow an understanding that you are not living just under a political protection, but you are living under a divine world. And how do you know it? Start listening. Consider the lilies of the field. How do they grow? See the peacocks dance. How do they dance? What's the glory of the sky? The glory of the breeze? And all these elements have gone to constitute your own body. You've forgotten all this, and mind is just caught up with very little things in life. Shrutikirti will handle the worldly problems, but don't get completely suffocated. Open your windows. See, handle the house with mosquitoes and termites, but every now and then open the window and see and listen to the sound of birds. Shrutikirti, listen to the glory of God. In a very simple way, turn to satsanga and begin to understand all about your life's project to attaining God realization. And there is a divine purpose in your life, purpose in the entire creation. So allowing your mind to listen to the subtle teachings of the scriptures, you may be listening, but if your ears are filled with muck, listening gets distorted. And that scriptures have given that type of simile. Lord Vishnu collected impurities in his ears. And out of those, and Brahma wanted to create. The moment Brahma started that, two demons emerged. One Madhu, another came Kaitaba. Madhu came with a lot of honey in his hands. And Kaitaba kept a lot of ugly thorns. But the honey of Madhu was Vishaks, poison. And a Katava, of course, is tormenting situation. But I'm going into too much distraction, but to understand that's in that story of Devi Puja, Brahma invokes Durga Devi, but to destroy the demons that came out of the ears of Lord Vishnu. Madhu and Kaitava are raga and dvesha, attachment and hatred. Your mind is gripped by like and dislike, then your mind is not. You are listening to all things, but ultimately you remember, yes, lecture was wonderful. But when will I have my tea? Joking. I'm joking completely. Nothing against tea, etc. All that I imply, your mind loses grip over what you have listened to. Let me also add that even if you think that you forgot all that you have listened to, satsanga never goes in vain. There is a divine movement, which is a foxy movement. You think you are not listening, but the foxy mind has caught it in the unconscious. So you are not losing. Any positive effort is never lost. And satsanga never goes in vain. It goes into your vein. And Rama is Jnana Yoga, the ultimate wisdom. Sita is Vivek Buddhi. And once that stage has reached, that's liberation, Sakshatkar, Aram, absolute peace. Coming into the storyline, the context here is all the four brothers have received already their wedding ceremony, and they have been enjoying a festive occasion. All Janakpuri, all the Janaka and all his kingdom and all his people were rejoicing. These four brothers with the four brides, and every day there has been a celebration. But now there comes a stage where King Dasharatha is planning to take all his marriage party and Rama, Lakshmana, and along with the brides to Ayodhya. अवधनाथ चाहत चलन भीतर करऊ जनाऊ भय प्रेम बस सचिव सुनि विप्र सभा सदराऊ. King Janaka, having been instructed by his guru and other sages, they come to Ranivas, that means in the inner apartments where all the queens dwell, and he says that Lord of Ayodhya, that's King Dasharatha, is going to depart. He wishes to depart. And so therefore, start preparations. With this statement, when people heard it, the ministers, the Brahmins, and many others, They became overcome with immense love. Simple way to understand, when you want to be separated from loved one, there is a sense of internal melting of the heart. पुरबासी सुनि चलिहि बराता बूझत बिकल परस्पर बाता. And soon the news traveled fast. All the Janakpuri, all people in Janak, the news broke. Rama and all the marriage party and King Dasharatha, they soon will leave King Janaka's Janakpuri, go to Ayodhya. They all were shocked. What a wonderful life was when they were there. And now all this they will not have. They start asking each other, though they listen to the big news. Is it really? Really they want to go? Imagine each one asking the other. And even while asking, they know already that they have to go. So they are asking as well as tears flowing from their eyes. Are they really going? Tears falling. Manahu Sage Sarasija Sukha Sakuchane. Just like lotuses that continue to blossom throughout the day, but as evening comes, they begin to wither, begin to draw themselves, shrink. That was the way they felt in their heart. It was like lotus, now suddenly shrinking. जहाँ जहाँ आवत बसे बराती तहाँ तहाँ सिद्ध चला बहुमाती विविध भांति पे मेवा पकवाना भोजन साजुल जाई बकाना. And wherever these people from the marriage party were staying, lots of food material, cooked food, were sent to everyone. The King Janaka had planned that everyone was to be given perfect respect. Vividha bhati meva pakavana bhojana sajula jai bakhana. Numerous types of sweets, wonderful cooked foods. And all this, so tasty, delicious, full of rasam, cannot be described. The moral is not to think about the food. All this is symbolic of spiritual food. Physical food gives you a symbolic way to understand how do you feel when you're hungry and eat varieties of tastes. How delightful. Soul, when it's hungry, how delightful if intellect were to become pure, if the will were to become strong, if the feeling begin to blossom, if the negative qualities were to move away, if your mala moves away, if your vikshepa moves away, how wonderful will you feel? That food is waiting find the hotel. Go to the Google. भरी भरी बसह अपार अकहारा पठई जनक अनेक सुसारा. Countless oxen carry big loads of food materials as well as all types of comfortable things like beds, clothes. तुरग लाख सरथ सहस पचीसा सकल संवारे नकर सीसा. 100,000 horses, or 1 lakh horses. Firstly, they were well selected horses. See how within a minute all was arranged. And 25,000 chariots. All were presented to the assembly, those people to travel from Janakpur to Ayodhya. And all those horses were well dressed. Dress means well beautified from their toes. Toenails were cut nicely. Their pads were made correctly. Their mane, some type of a jewel garlands were put in their neck. Naksa shiksak, from the toes nails to the head. For all those horses were so well arranged. People reading it take it literally. There was such a time. There was such a wonderful king who could manage all this, such a glory. That type of understanding is childish. It simply implies when you are moving Godward movement, every step that you take is welcomed in the divine plan in a countless way. And everything that divine plan does is perfectly well decked, well planned. That's not easy to understand, but that's what, if spiritual sensitivity develops in your heart, you don't live in a world constantly feeling contradicted by the world, feeling the world is miserable. Treta Yuga, it was something good. Dwapar Yuga was better, but now it's Kali Yuga. How long we have to wait for the Rama to come? So that type of thinking is completely childish. The reality, Purnamadaha Purnamidam. No matter whatever your mind may be feeling, no matter whatever dream you may have, think of simple illustration. You have wonderful bed and you have the best of pillows and wonderful covering and the best of air conditioning. But you have gone into dream. In your dream, you have lost everything. You don't know where to go. And you're meeting with people whom you never knew, as well as people who have passed away. All types of things. And go into all those situations. You say, what has happened to the world? The answer, nothing has happened to the world. Your world is same bed, same cozy comfort blanket, same air conditioning. Nothing happened. Purnamada. All this is full. But even out of this full, we entered into a state of being fooled. Figure that out through a very mature understanding. Deep down reality, the reality you are experiencing through your mind and senses, that is not reality. As long as you are using specs to see the world, whatever you are seeing is defined by your specs. So it is not reality. Whatever you are experiencing is defined by your senses and defined by your vasanas, subtle desires. So therefore, everyone is experiencing the world in their own way. But that doesn't make a difference in the reality of things. The truth remains always, Brahman, Purnamada, that God is always full. You are being fooled by your brain, your nervous system, and your mindset. Spiritual evolution is to allow Ramatva, this four-aspected Rama movement, integral yoga in your life. And then as you cut down your illusions, you realize all this, Ya Ramness of all this is nothing but permeated by Rama, permeated by God. What I was leading to understand, that the moment your mind turns to a positive direction, millions of things in this world are set in order. A little change in your karma, a little change in your understanding, a little change in the angle of vision. Not one or two things get straight, millions. Millions of horses line up, well decked from toes to the head. Matta sahasa dasa sindhura saje, chinahi dekhi dise kunjara laje, kanaka basana mani bhari bhari jana, mahishi dhenu bastu vidhun vidhinana. 10,000 strong elephants, matwala, kind of drunk. The more drunk, the better they obey the mouth. "10,000 elephants, so well decked that even those divine elephants that hold the earth," that's the old style picture of the world. How is the world sustained in this vast space? They divide the directions in 10, symbolically. So 10 big elephants with their big trunk holding the earth. That's why we are all comfortable on the earth. But when those elephants looked at the elephants of King Janaka, they were put to shame. Because every elephant of King Janaka was much better than all of them. Now figure out the riddle. How can it be possible? Because King Janaka's descriptions are for liberation. Now you are dealing with a whole set that is directing your soul not to be in the realm of karma. But the story of elephants that hold the world, they are in the realm of karma. So only led by karma you will be. From life to life you will be sustained on the earth. Earth again is not reality, but you will be sustained, you will be given earthly sustenance. And that earth is sustained by karmic, divine self in a very limited way, playing the role of sustaining karmas. So, in other words, simple way to understand, that all the description that you are receiving, it is description pointing to liberation. And all the description of enjoyment that you get in the world, they are also divine. Good karmas will give you good prosperity. But these divine elephants, they are not as good as those elephants that are leading Rama's movement, allowing the soul to attain liberation. But figure that out, how. Again, come back into simple way. Virtuous karmas, people do good karmas. Why? They want to have happiness, prosperity. The divine spirit that grants good karmas with prosperity, those spirits are lower gods. Same divine spirit, when you, instead of granting you material prosperity, begins to allow you to have spiritual prosperity, spiritual wealth, more patience, more faith, more humility. This type of movement far excels the previous type. दाई ज अमित न सकिय कही दीन विदेह बहोरी. King Janaka gave dowry. And dowry that is boundless, cannot be described. Jo avalokita lokapati loka sampada thori. When they saw the dowry being given to King Janaka, King Dasharatha and his party, gods, they looked at their wealth, and all their wealth of the heavenly world, of the astral heaven, appeared less compared to what King Janaka was giving. Everything becomes like a riddle. The riddle is, all the wealth that you think of in the world is called alpam, little, because it never goes with you. You remain simply deluded that you are so wealthy and all that. But the moment you kick the bucket, using crude words, all the wealth becomes little. But all the spiritual wealth that you have received, your devotion, your humility, your compassion, all the good things that you have developed, that goes on from one life to another. And if you are truly advanced in your wealth, then you are moved towards liberation. And the joy and the wealth that you experience by being liberated Can't imagine. The whole world and all its wealth is nothing. Put in another allegorical way, all the light that you see in the sun, compared to that, all illuminations on the earth are little. Illuminations go on changing. You may go on wandering after the illuminations, but why not go after the sun? Compared to the sun, all illuminations are little, nothing. Little means actually not, there's no substance in it. And that's the point brought out, that all the wealth that you are being displayed of King Janaka, that wealth far excels all the wealth of the world. Put it in a more simple way, your project to attain Viveka Buddhi, Sanamati, good understanding, that project is dramatized as Rama within you wedding Sita. Compared to that project, all your projects in this world and all your business, little. The message is not to give up all, you can't do that. The message is to get involved with integral yoga. So the dowry that King Janaka gave, that immense wealth, even all these great gods with their big treasure looked at that wealth of King Janaka and were ashamed. Sabu samaju ehi bhati banai, Janak avadpur din pathai. And with this type of arrangement, King Janaka let King Dasharatha plan to return to Ayodhya. When the queens in the inner apartment heard, they all became exceedingly fickle, full of tears, just like fishes become exceedingly restless when the water is being drained out and the water has become very shallow. Fishes are all chatpat, chatpat. Puni puni siya goda karilehi, dehi asisa sikhavanu dehi. It's a display of rasa. The literature brings you different types of taste. This is the kind of Vatsalya type of rasa. The queens hold Sita and other brides in their arms, bless them, and give them teachings. How you should behave when you go there. What are you going to expect? They give according to their own experiences, sharing your best. Hoyahu santata piyahi piyari, chilwahi vata sisa hamari. Be very endearing to your husbands. And may your married life be very long and unobstructed, not obstructed by any negative development. सास ससुर गुर सेवा करहु, Pati rukha lakhi ayasu anusarehu. And when you go to your bridegroom's house, meeting your father-in-law, your mother-in-law, their guru, live to serve them. Matri Devo Bhava, Pitri Devo Bhava. But now you have double Matri Devo. Understand? They had already, Sita and others, they had their own mother and father. But now as married, they have double benefit. Another mother, another father, another guru. Pati rukhalaki ayasus anusarehu, and be in perfect harmony with your husband. Ati saneha bas sakhi sayani, nari dharam sikavahi madhubani. All the friends and friendly ladies of around Sita, they give her nari dharma. Nari dharma, how should a woman conduct herself when she is married, and based on their experiences. Let me give you a broader meaning. All souls are called Stri. They are all Nari. Shouldn't be upset about it. God is called the Purusha. He is the only husband. So every soul therefore must follow Nari Dharma, Stri Dharma. Stri Dharma means live your life in such a way that you improve upon triad, seer, seen and sight. Bring improvement in yourself, see God within yourself, see God in the world, and all experiences of pleasure and pain, view them as handled by God. When you dream, you are stripped, you are trapped by three illusions: the dream subject, the dream world, dream experiences. In order to wake up, you must, when you wake up, you realize all the three were nothing but the same self. Again, all this allegorical way of describing. In practice, what it implies, live in such a way that you realize you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are absolute self. That movement is Stri Dharma. How to live your life, to utilize the triad and transcend the triad. How to live your life to enjoy harmony and peace and spiritual growth in the world. Ultimately, go beyond the world, attain moksha. And this has come as some distractive ways. In Hindu saying, Triyascharitram purushasya bhagyam daivo na janati kutah manushya. A statement that is so misunderstood that most houses will repeat it. Whenever there is disharmony between husband and wife, and whenever there is some trouble, they blame on the women. And they quote the scripture. And see what it means. What the type of illusion women create, Triashcharitram, the wiles of women, and the profound destiny of man. Even gods cannot understand. Daivo na janati. How can human being grasp it? See, it has nothing to do with men and women. It simply means this world is a Triashcharitram. This is a play of the triad, threefold illusions. But in spite of all the illusions, Purushasya Bhagyam, the soul within you is Purusha. Its capacity to conquer all this is beyond your imagination. That's the message behind it. That's called Nari Dharma in a very profound way. सादर सकल कुंवरी समुझाई रानी न बार बार उरलाई. With great affection, all these Stri Dharma they told all this, they shared their experience and guided Sita, Urmila, Mandavi, Shrutikirti. And they, having told them, they suddenly forgot that they had told them. So they tell the same thing again. So bar. And again they enfold them in their arms. बहुरी बहुरी भेंटही महतारी कहीं विरंची रची कतनारी. Again and again they meet, and again their mind says, why did Brahma create women? They come in, they grow in their parents' home, but ultimately parents are always headache. I'm joking. They're always thinking, when can I find a proper match for our daughter? So why did God create these women and made so much mess? Try to understand, by women, they tried. It's nothing to do with, because coming back to practical reality of men and women, soul is sexless. But led by your karma, a soul can be woman in one birth, man in another birth. And a soul can be so mixed up, doesn't know where he belongs. तेहि अवसर भाइन सहित राम भानु कुल भय केतु चले जनक मंदिर मुदित विदा करावन हेतु. Now, in this occasion, Rama, along with his brothers, who were the glorious pataka, flags of the solar race, they went to inner apartment of King Janaka to say goodbye to mothers-in-law. चारु भाई सुभाएं सुहाए, नगर नारी नर देखन धाये. As they were going there, all men and women saw how the four brothers are planning to go into the inner apartment to say goodbye. को कहा चलन चाहता यहीं आजू, किन विदेह विदा कर साजू. And the news spread that they are going to go away today, and King Janaka has already prepared all that's needed for their departure. लेहु नयन भरी रूप निहारी, प्रिय पाहुने भूप सुतचारी. Now this is our last opportunity. Let's look at them. Let's have their darshan. Don't put on any restriction in your eyes. Open your eyes and look at, because this type of opportunity will not come again. So all this pointing to, there's always a subtle finger going towards. You possess the ability to see. To see means to experience, to realize the potential you have. Utilize that potential and have darshan of God. That darshan doesn't mean that God comes and look at him. Darshan means you realize the body, mind, intellect, they are all illusions. Every reflected sun is nothing but the sun. Every soul is nothing but the divine. That's the real darshan. निरखि राम शोभा उर धरहु, निज मन फनि मूरति मनि करहु. And they are all telling each other, come, behold the glorious beauty of Rama, and hold that beauteous form of Rama in your heart. Let your mind be snake, and the form of Rama, the jewel. That's another type of allegorical description you find in Indian scriptures. And there is some biological reality behind it that I have not researched. And there are certain snakes, very rare, but they hold a kind of a jewel within their hood. And whenever they are traveling, they put the jewel down and it illumines their path. They go around and they must get back to the jewel. Nothing is more loved by them than that jewel. Allow your mind to become that type of a snake. And the jewel is Rama. It's difficult to understand, then use another simile. Allow your mind to become a bee. And Rama, the nectar in the lotus. And I start buzzing over it. Thus, delighting the eyes of so many people, Rama and others went to the royal palace रूप सिंधु सब बंधु लखी, हर्षि उठार निवास, करहि निछावरी आरती, महामुदित मनसासु. Seeing these four brothers, very ocean of divine beauty, all Ranivas, all the queens stood up to welcome. And they were already prepared, well prepared, to scatter flowers over Rama, Lakshmana, etc., and wave light, arati. So with such elegant way of welcoming and a wonderful way of communications. And with this setting, I will hold off for next day. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukum Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyant Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Hari Om.